the course of my alarmingly long biographical career, I have written about an inordinate number of prime ministers and kings and the like. And I've always been stage struck, and I suddenly decided that in old age I would indulge myself. And so I decided to do an actor, obviously of the actors and actresses. Olivier was much the most significant figure of the 20th century, both in terms of the quality of his acting and the extraordinary range of his talents as a director and producer, and above all, as more as a creator of a national theatre. And so he just seemed the obvious target. Olivier once said to one of his children that he had acted 200 parts in his life and he didn't know which of them he was. Perhaps he was all of them, perhaps he was none of them. And there's extraordinary evasiveness about Laurence Olivier. I think it's evasiveness about, in a way, all actors, but Olivier exaggerated it so because he genuinely, he almost eschewed a personality. He seemed to sort of edit himself out. Whatever the role which he required to play at the time, he would do with enormous energy and enthusiasm. But he was always acting. He once, Joan Plowright was once asked whether she thought that it was possible to tell whether Larry was or was not acting. Larry is always acting, she said. And in a way, I think he was, because he had so sunk himself into each role in turn that a strange sort of vacuum was left when he was not playing a role. I mean, to some extent, every actor is doing what is required of them and not plumbing too deeply into the either the sort of reality behind his impersonation, or indeed the existence of a life outside the theatre. But Olivier was exaggeratedly dedicated to the theatre and wrapped up in it, and it was so major a part of his life, so intense were his actions and obligations, that I think he almost had remarkably little time or energy left over for what most of us would think of as being real life. I've often been asked whether I liked Laurence Olivier, and I find it almost impossible to answer. He is extraordinarily evasive, that when you, up till now, anyone I've written about, I felt I was chipping away, I was poking away, getting deeper and deeper and deeper. In the end, I would come through to somebody real. I'm not sure. With Olivier, I always came out the other side and realised that I had not failed to engage completely. And so I know that I admire him inordinately. I respect him greatly. I think he was in many ways an admirable member of society, but whether I actually like him, I find it extraordinarily hard to say. And he's so astonishingly hard to pin down. But it was a conversation recorded between Ralph Richardson and John Gielgud, and both of them spoke of Olivier with great affection as an old friend, wonderful actor, always very, very, very good company, delighted to meet him any time. And they both said, "But I don't think I really know him, do you?" "Well, no, I don't know him at all." And in a strange way, he was unknowable. I think there's no doubt at all that first Olivier took a very long time to adapt to acting on film as opposed to in the theatre, but he inevitably had to sort of curb that passionate intensity which came over so well on the stage and whittled it down to something rather smaller. And that he did find very difficult, and he never totally accomplished it, with the result that there is a slight element of the ham about most, especially his great Shakespearean roles. I mean, his Henry V is magnificent, but it is over the top. I think perhaps towards the end of his career, in The Entertainer, for instance, he did succeed in coming to terms with the art of cinema, and in a way cutting himself down to size. But for most of his career, most of the parts you remember him by, he was exaggeratedly flamboyant. He was over the top, but as a result, I'm afraid that his reputation will, in the long run, be damaged, because what people remember about him will not be those magnificent stage performances, however well they're described by writers, but the cinema performances which they can actually see for themselves.